The White House and members of Congress are still far from striking a deal to end the partial government shutdown. Now, this is the third shutdown on President Trump's watch, but this one is expected to be the longest, lasting at least until Thursday when the Senate returns to Washington. Now, while that's unfolding, the president is trying to downplay and distance himself from yet another administration official who is resigning in protest of Trump's foreign policy. The most immediate concern, though, is finding a way to get the government running again. This morning, the government shutdown enters day 2. The stalemate hinging on President Trump's $5 billion demand for his signature campaign promise, a southern border wall. The Senate gavelled into session Saturday afternoon, but with no deal in sight, adjourned until Thursday, ensuring the shutdown drags past Christmas. Mr. Trump, who just days ago said he'd be proud to shut down the government over border security,
I'm not going to blame you for it,
in a tweet signaled it could be a long stay. With Democrats dug in,
President Trump, if you want to open the government, you must abandon the wall. Plain and simple.
The president appeared to soften his stance, tweeting that he might accept funding for a barrier made of steel instead of concrete. A senior administration official tells NBC News the president is willing to negotiate on the type of barrier, so long as Democrats agree to one as part of any deal. The shutdown caps another chaotic week in Washington, with the president announcing a withdrawal of all U.S. troops from Syria and considering a drawdown of U.S. forces from Afghanistan, according to multiple sources. The abrupt shift leading to the resignation of Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, and now the top U.S. diplomat leading the fight against ISIS. Brett McGurk saying he can't carry out Trump's Syria policy.
Top national security officials feel unable to defend what the president is doing, either to countries around the world or even to the U.S. military.
Both resignations a rebuke of the president's actions. Now, in response to all of this, the president fired off a pair of tweets defending his foreign policy, saying his decision to get out of endless and costly foreign wars, as he put it, is what got him elected. He also criticized the officials who turned in their resignation letters this past week. In another tweet, the president said Brett McGurk was an Obama holdover. He accused him of being a grandstander and said he didn't even know him. The president's critics, Willie, then pounced, saying the fact that Mr. Trump doesn't know this key national security figure charged with defeating ISIS speaks volumes about Trump's approach.